Shalom, giving all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwarash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations, as always, to the elect. So much for Donald Trump exposing the deep state. What is Maga going to say about this one? Or I wonder if Anton Daniels is going to do a video on this one. You know, all of you Magites, you people who were under the enchantment of America being made great again, and that you had a president in office that was going to tackle the deep state, expose the Epstein files. All right, well, the FBI drops investigation into Prince Andrew's links with Jeffrey Epstein. All right, and there's too many small hats tied to Epstein, all right, for this to have ever really came out. All right, and they redacted much of the information that supposedly came out. They constantly played in you people's faces. As a matter of fact, I have this video. This was 4 months ago. All right, this was 4 months ago. Look what MAGA, look how they played you all. Remember this? Now, if you look at the names on that, it's the Epstein files. Okay? See if they zoom in. There you go. The Epstein files, phase 1. Remember that? MAGA. All right, playing in you people's faces, man. So they supposedly had the files. They supposedly were gonna, release it all to the public. Trump said he was gonna bring it out. Elon said he had it, and Trump was on it. Just a bunch of psychological operations that, at the end of the day, aren't going to amount to anything, because the wicked, pursuant to the Holy Scriptures, are reserved unto the day of judgment. Okay, so as the Scriptures say, he who now letteth will let until he get taken out of the way. Okay, so the Lord is allowing this man's, wickedness to stack up. And we knew that, wasn't any true justice gonna come from within, because the very people who control the justice system, DOJ, all right, are tied to this madness, this freakism. And Esau Edom is nasty as hell. But what have they done over these last years? They've made Jake, which Jake is freaky and nasty as hell as well. Don't get it twisted. Okay, the face of what they do. So they've dropped the investigation. All right. And Trump has various pictures with this guy, Epstein. They're all in the same gang, man. Okay? And the Magites are somehow trying to figure out a way to justify it. Okay? We'll show you Alex Jones. All right? Trying to justify this. So the FBI has officially ended its investigation into Prince Andrew's links, all right, to Jeffrey Epstein, who supposedly committed suicide. Following a systematic review, the DOJ and FBI concluded that there was no evidence to justify an investigation against uncharged third parties. Okay, and another one, I have to find the article. They said there isn't no list. There's nothing to see here. Okay, so pretty much the left and the right are all in the same gang. Okay. Remember, Trump was supposed to out all of these pedo rings and this and that, and a few things came out. But when it's all said and done, all of these devils are nasty, man. Okay? The Justice Department said no more files relating to the investigation will be made public, despite repeated promises from Pam Bondi, the U.S. Attorney General, all right, that more material was going to be revealed. Okay? And there's various big names that were linked to this. But here we go. And they're just going to continuously cover up their crimes. All right? Have we been lied to about Epstein? Okay? And this guy was linked in, man. Okay? This guy was linked in. Now, let's get this video real quick. And I typed in Maga meaning. I've looked it up before. It deals with enchantment or sorcery. Okay? Yep. In Italian, Maga directly translates to sorceress or witch. So you people are under a deep sleep. Okay? Now it's Mawa, make America white again, because that's really what they're trying to do. Okay? Put the so-called white man and the elites back in the position of rule that they once had. All right, because there's a stain on Edomite supremacy. There's a shameful spewing on Edomite supremacy. So Trump has a lot of you Edomites drunk with the notion that America is going to be made great again, but the elite are being made great again. Now, I have this video here real quick. All right, let's play it. As you can see, this is off of the Disturbing Illusion.
Because there's no coming back from this, right? They are aiding and abetting child predators.
They leveraged their audiences to try to convince them that they need to vote for Donald Trump. We were talking about Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Luke Rudkowski, Clint Russell, Russell Brand, Charlie Kirk, Dave Rubin, the redheaded libertarian, Jeremy from the Quartering, who we'll listen to right here with Luke Rudkowski, Salty Cracker, we're going to listen to this later, Styx Hexenhammer, Dave Smith, Joe Rogan, the list goes on. But these people used their audiences to convince you that Donald Trump would be different, that his administration would be interested in meting out justice, that the victims on the Epstein client list would be brought to justice, swift justice, and now they're telling us there is no Epstein client list. And all these people we warned not to promote Donald Trump and his administration, who will do the same old things that the Joe Biden administration did, or the Clinton administration did, or the Obama administration did, racking up the debt. I mean, if you only knew one thing about Donald Trump, and that's that he was bailed out back in the 1990s by Rothschild's Inc., and the employee of Rothschild's Inc. was Wilbur Ross. And then 25 years later, when Trump becomes president, when he is appointed, when he is selected, not elected as president, he makes that same Rothschild's Inc. employee, Wilbur Ross, the Commerce Secretary. If that doesn't tell you everything that you need to know about they're in the big club and you aren't, and they're going to operate their club like they always did, then nothing's going to wake you up. So now we have Jeremy from the Quartering speaking with Luke Rudkowski about the breaking news that there is no Epstein client list.
So there is no list. So all of these big name freaks walking around with dookie on their fingers, right? With baby BLOOD, in their back throat, right? Will continuously, all right, in their minds get away with it. But we know that the sinner will never get away with his spoils. Okay, these are some very dark, wicked people, all right? And, they, you had these particular, as he mentioned, some of them, Joe Rogan, what's this guy, Alex Jones. Now, check out Alex Jones, because this guy, I'll go back to this one, but check out Alex Jones trying to justify it.
You and I have seen a lot of cognitive dissonance. We've seen a lot of reinforced echo chambers, but I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. And this is over and above the Q-tard, QAnon, trust the plan nonsense. This is Alex Jones And it took me a while to go through this and compile and compress this because I want you to see what he says. But Alex Jones, a lot of tangent talking, a lot of rabbit trails, but I distilled this so that you can see exactly what Alex Jones is saying about the DOJ literally washing its hands of the Epstein case and completely closing the file, saying there's nothing to see here. This is Alex Jones saying that Donald Trump is blackmailing the deep state by covering up a pedophile ring. So what you, in essence, have is Alex Jones covering up a cover-up. Listen to this from the top. I'm going to try to play it all the way through without interrupting, but you know me, it just gets too much sometimes. So let's watch this. Listen very closely to what Alex Jones is saying and the excuses that he is making for Donald Trump and the DOJ and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino.
There's a lot of pieces to this, and it's important to review the history some. And we'll be getting Kyle Seraphin, very well known, very respected FBI whistleblower. So much what we know about the deep state and its corruption and targeting American people because of him and others. Roger Stone, obviously long-term Trump confidant and wingman, who knows a lot about Trump's sexual proclivities. And I can tell you from many other sources, it's not children. And it would have been brought out if any of the stuff that the left tried to put out about him is true. That said, here's the summation of what's going on, and then I'm going to walk through it all. They knew the Democrats, under Comey and his daughter in New York, had this giant trove. And so when they didn't turn it over, they raided them now 4 months ago. And then Bondi went on Fox News and said, yes, there's thousands of files, meaning computer files, video files, you name it. It's terrible children abuse. It will come out. And then she got caught undercover, basically elaborating. And then when she knew that video was coming out, she talked about it at a press conference a few days later. That was James O'Keefe. There have been rumblings in D.C. about an ongoing cover-up. And then when Bondi, we confirmed this from Seraphin and others, sent the files out to offices around the country, which is what you do if you're going to start investigating something. A few months later, I talked to Seraphin and other sources. They said, no one's working on it. So what they did is load the gun, cock the gun, put it to the deep state CIA head. That's what this is. And Trump's got his guy, supposedly Ratcliffe over there. They said, make a deal with us and basically roll over and surrender and stop your deep state attacks. Man. And we were elected, let us run things, and we'll shut this down. That's what happened. Trump doesn't have sex with children. Trump was never involved in any of it. The two men were socialites in New York. They lived in some area of Florida. He was a member of the club. 15, 16, 17 years ago, Trump kicked him out for trying to pick up people's 14-year-old daughters. And so we know this backwards and forwards. I know a lot of people that have stayed with Trump in New York, other places, and they've gone out with him, partied with him, doesn't drink, has his wife in between that, has girlfriends. And Roger used to be his wingman when Trump didn't want people to know who his girlfriends were.
Okay.
Yeah, we go out to dinner so he could take his girlfriends out. That's really where Roger and Trump got together. That's been in the New York Times 20 years ago, but Roger was like, talk about it, but that's...
This is nasty work, okay? Nasty work. There's another video of this guy.
I don't know how they got Trump and the DOJ to do this because the public is not buying it. No one is buying it. So I never saw any evidence of Trump involved in any of the stuff that came out. It was all fake. The fake Jane Does, all the crap, E. Jean Carroll, the crazy leftist cat lady, all of it. So now by coming in and being part of the cover-up, the Trump administration has become part of it. I mean, it's just, you cannot see it any other way. So I just got to the office. I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now.
Hurt.
My mouth is watering right now.
Thru.
Because I have integrity. And, I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out. And, the left, they're all complicit. They're openly promoting pedophilia. We know they're pure evil. And they'll think it's all funny. Oh, look, Alex is sad. The Maga's tearing himself apart. Your globalist masters literally want you to eat bugs and live in a 5G, 200-square-foot coffin apartment. Look at the left. Look at them all posing with their Pfizer shot.
I'm going to just leave it alone. Yo, he is through, man. Y'all are through, man. And, it's funny that our people really believe in these people. Our people are still looking to these people as if, they're going to get some form of salvation from these people, man. But Maga is through. Esau's through. And the Lord is only allowing your wickedness to stack up, all right, until he takes you out of the way. Psalms chapter 73 and 3. All right, this is Asaph, looking at how these wicked people continuously get away. You know, in spirit, he was just talking, for I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked, for there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. Okay? They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Right? Therefore, pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment, because they know they can get away with anything, man. Okay? And even when you believe one of them is in jail or locked up, they're on some island somewhere doing the same stuff that they're being convicted of freely. Okay? These devils ain't going to get judged but by Yahweh Shai, man. And they're losing. They're losing control of the narrative. They're divided. They stink. They ugly. They're played out. Okay, it ain't working. All of the enchantments, they doing all these sacrifices, it ain't working. The truth of the matter, as the scriptures say, corruption is being overcome by truth. All right, but still, our words, you know, like we can't go and have these devils chained up and locked up. That's going to happen via the prophecies coming to pass. Because these elites, these ones that they're going to be put in chains. They're going to go to they're going to prison, baby. They're going into captivity. And we ain't going to use the prison system of this world. But we are going to bind their kings in chains, man. Because these people need to be locked up. Okay? Those are the people who need to be put in alligator Alcatraz. Right? Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than the heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. They set their mouth against the heavens. They speak against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. They set up a wicked moral justice code, man, where justice never really takes place. Justice can only take place under Yahweh Shai. This system wasn't meant for true justice to take place. Okay? Verse 12, behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world, they increase in riches. All right. Now, verse 17 says in the NLT, then I went into your sanctuary, O Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, and I finally understood the destiny of the wicked. You have to tap into Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. And many of our people have waxed proud because of the Christian church. A lot of our people have gave up on the Bible. Well, that means you're not of the elect. Now, we get it. Christianity did put a stain on the vibration of God and his son. All right. But you still have the truth out there now, man. And see, you're not going to understand the end all be all until you enter into the congregation of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, man. See? Surely thou didst set them in slippery places, thou casted them down into destruction. And Esau Edom is in that slippery place right now. He's slipping all over the place. And he's not going to run from the true justice, man. That's going to come under Yahweh Shai. How are they brought into desolation? As in a moment, they are utterly consumed with terrors, man. As a dream, when one awaketh, so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image, man. And through this word, we're finding out that the Heavenly Father despises the image of the beast, man. And his plans for the image of the beast. And the people who are ultimately forwarding it, man. Including our own people. Isaiah 24. Right? And 1. In that day, NLT, I will punish the gods in the heavens, and the gods that are in the heavens, okay, because heavens is symbolic of your rulership, all right, and the proud rulers of the nations on the earth, okay, and in the King James it says, it shall come to pass that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, okay. They will be rounded up and put in prison. they will be shut up in prison and finally be punished. See, they're not going to be able to escape and say, well, he committed suicide. Like you have the coach of Penn State. You know, when it came out that they were freaking off with boys and children, all of a sudden he died. Yeah, right. He probably is back in the spirit world because the nigga was like 206. But yeah, right. No, he was getting ready to be investigated, and they have the power and the influence and the wealth. Okay, and they're backed by all, you know, the big names, the small hats at the end of the day, to just make a story up and put it in the news. So this guy Epstein, supposedly, you know, he supposedly just died. You know, he offed himself. Now, he didn't have a client list. After all these years of talking about this list, right? Now all of a sudden it's over. There's nothing to see here. Diddy, nigga. We will release the Epstein list. We just need more time. The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no list. And you people are going to continuously fall for these people, man. Because they're talking about taking red dye out of the annihilators, and you know they're going to make America healthy again, and in 4 years we will put wearables on you assholes. And see, something's happening, which I'll get into this in another video. All right. NASA makes it official: a galactic traveler has just entered into the solar system at 245,000 kmh, all right, an hour. That's fast. And astronomers are on the alert. Now, we don't know the truth of it, but we know the chariots are on their way to destroy and take this man down, man. Okay? There is no escape from the judgment. You will, as we just read here, okay, these elites are going to be rounded up and put in prison. Okay? And they're going to be visited. Okay? Because remember, these people, because right now, Epstein's most likely in a bunker. So the scriptures talks about how these elites, which they are buying bunkers, all right, you can just look it up in the news. So all you have to do is type in billionaires and bunkers. Okay? Yep, many wealthy individuals, including billionaires, are invested in doomsday bunkers because ultimately the idiotic rise of billionaire doomsday bunkers. Okay? They even got it on Netflix. Why? Because ultimately these wicked, demonic people who have been able to be above the law, right? They're going to go scurrying into those bunkers, man. Revelation 6 and 15, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. They're going to have their slaves down there, their servants. All right, if you think the elites are going into the bunkers on their own, no, they're going to have their servants, they're going to have their robot, they're going to have everything. It's going to be set. Okay, one of them I was looking at had, all right, 1,000 years worth of food and drink in there. Meanwhile, people are starving, but they got food waiting in the bunker for them to run their stinking asses down there, right? And hide themselves. Okay? So the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains, they're going to hide themselves in the rocks and in the dens, all right? In the dens, look at the word den. So the Lord got it all set. There is no escaping of the judgment of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. The sinner is not going to escape with his spoils. That's in the book of Sirach. Somebody can put that on a comment board. But the word dens, okay, cave, den, okay, Spiliano, or spelion, okay? Cave, a den, a hiding place. What is a den? A retreat. All right? A small, comfortable room or house where a person can pursue activity in private. So they got these dens and these doomsday bunkers, all right, that they here. Right? Why does the Lord, he gave them all of these resources? Because these niggas are going to jail. Okay? But it ain't gonna be a jail like we know today. Okay? Bind kings. So good. You may get mad like they always get away. That's why you got to be comforted. Until you enter into the congregation of the Lord, you ain't going to see that these people are going to be judged. Or you just go be a Christian, all right, with your lip hanging, talking about the good Lord is watching. He see him. But you don't really believe that. Because as soon as we really tell you the judgment associated with what's going to happen to these people, you'll scurry up. You'll get scared. You'll say, "Well, that's hateful. That's racist. Wouldn't that make us just as bad as them?" Psalms 149:8. And you Christians just need to shut up. Y'all ain't got nothing to say, man. The stuff that y'all are coming out, I mean, there's been stuff I've been meaning to respond to that brothers been bringing out. Like, come on, man. You Christians are, and these are big time pastors, man. Psalms 149:4. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory, and let them sing aloud upon their beds. So let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints, man. To bind their kings with shackles and their leaders with iron chains. These people need to be locked up.
And you see Trump's type, it's his wife.
It looks to me like the Mossad has Alex Jones going out of his way to completely distance the dealings of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein with what Trump was involved in, completely disconnecting them and isolating them as though they weren't part of the same club, going to the same places, doing the same things, involved in the exact same activities. Amazing psychological operation right here.
Very intimidating, very feminine, very powerful. Lightning bolt shooting out of her eyes. You understand?
And you got a lot of these Magites, these maggots, which I get it. The left did, when you look at what Biden and them were doing, it was nasty work. So I get it. A lot of you wanted a change, all right, but you were lied to. You were bamboozled, man. And we told you all. Okay? But we glad Trump is in there. We glad that we're seeing what we're seeing. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Shai, prophecy is coming to pass, man. Okay? But again, as the scriptures say, they ain't going to be judged until the end. Let's get Job 21 and 31, and we'll end it off. All right, Job 21. Because when you read this chapter, it's just going into how they ultimately they spend their days in wealth. Verse 13. All right, they don't get judged. They see the food they eat ain't the food you eat, as it says in verse 10. Their bull gendereth and felleth not. Their cow calveth and casteth not her cow. So they they feeding you all of this GMO meat. You eating a damn hamburger. There's cheetah genes in the beef. You thinking you eating a hamburger. You thinking you eating, lamb. they mixing all kind of, you know, but the elites ain't eating that shit. These niggas living to 100, having 20 heart transplants. The dude, one of the Rothschilds, that nigga had like 8 heart transplants. That nigga probably had Richard Pryor's heart. It's the type of wickedness going on here, man. But when you go down, let me get up out of here. I'll just jump to the point, Salaki. Verse 29, have you not asked them that go by the way? And do you not know their tokens? That the wicked is reserved unto the day of destruction? They should be brought forth to the day of wrath. So they're being reserved, man. All right? The Lord is definitely getting ready to judge these devils, man. So let them, you know, think they're getting the victory, and let them think they're going to continue on with their wickedness. Nah, judgment is coming, man. Shalom.